Hello, everybody. It's Planet SkyFF. £50,000. Still nowhere closer, James.
No, further away, actually.
Not a good week?
I did a silly gamble on Saturday, didn't I? I captained Cancelo rather than Salah.
Yeah,
which in hindsight...
hang on. I don't think that's can be classified as a silly gamble.
In hindsight, it looks bloody stupid, doesn't it? You got the best striker in the world probably at the moment versus Norwich, who've conceded more shot tiers than any other team. When you look back on it and reflecting, what are you thinking?
Yeah, just but because... it was a clean sheet and a tier was enough to match him. So I didn't think it was silly.
My logic behind it was, I think that's a 20-pointer with captaincy for Cancelo, and there's half a chance Salah doesn't start, right? Then suddenly maybe I'm looking at an 18-point gain or at least 9-point gain versus captaincy, non-captaincy. He obviously swung the other way against me fairly badly. So, oh well, you live and learn. I had to try something now and again to try and break to the top end of the league. So
yeah, where are you in terms of how many points in total for the week?
Where am I? I'm now like number one supporter of the Dave Perrins fan club.
How many points did you get last week?
I haven't got a claim, mate. 45, 50, something like that. I need to log in. It's bad.
That's not great.
Gross. Nick Pope was...
a saviour.
Yeah, I mean, I captain Ronaldo Sunday as well. Not that too many had captaincy returns Sunday, but I seem to dive a bit Sunday as well. I guess there's obviously a little bit of Rafinha ownership knocking about, and I obviously went out on the piss Saturday, but I was going to have a big think Sunday about buying Rafinha. I decided I probably wouldn't, but then obviously saw he wasn't in the team, and then it was a definite not, because obviously we had these new fixtures added, and it certainly made the attractiveness of Leeds even greater. So, I mean, those with Rafinha at the moment, I wouldn't sweat over the fact he hasn't been in the lineup at the weekend. I expect him to play at Liverpool tonight and then crack on. It's suddenly gone from he's one I'm going to avoid to want him but probably not going to have hhim is where it's probably at now for me.
I ended up on 66 points, which is not bad, although hardly made any leaderboard headway. I got inside the top 5k on Saturday, captaining Salah and owning Harry Kane. So those two were 38 points between them. That must have almost matched your week's score. And I owned Nick Pope as well. Everybody else did blank. JWP, Bowen, Gallagher didn't even play. De Bruyne. And our captain Kilman on Sunday. So I fell back again to 5,100th overall. So really not making any headway whatsoever at the moment. But I said last week, I was going to come with 5 luxury transfers because I didn't need
and I didn't even remind you.
No, I didn't need to remind me. I've got 7.
Oh, go on then.
I've got 7. But before we get into it, let's just cover off captaincy for this weekend. Well, midweek and weekend, because we obviously got tonight, Salah.
Yeah, Mo Salah's, that's
done.
I was never going to go against it tonight, and I'm not going against it tonight now. That's one hell of a gamble if you go against that tonight, I think, with the way what Leeds conceding, 3 goals per game over the last 10 or something. I mean, if he starts, and with Firmino and Jota's injuries as well, there's no reason for him not to start. Obviously, if he's not in the lineup, then obviously you can pick someone else. Where would you be in that unusual circumstance? I just didn't know the reason why.
Because obviously he had a rest of the weekend, so... I've got Pope, Trent, Kane. I'd probably go Kane. Gallagher.
I'm buying Harry tonight.
You are, yeah?
Yeah. I've looked at... I'm buying him for Ronaldo, which is going to be kind of a template, quite popular move by the looks of it. I think everybody just wants shot of Ronaldo. And you do obviously have the case Ronaldo versus Watford at the weekend, but I think, look, there are captaincy alternatives with Cancelo at Everton and Kane at Leeds, which we'll discuss. So I think that you get the extra game tonight with Harry. Possibly maybe even captain him Saturday. I think that's close between him and Cancelo for Saturday. See how I feel after tonight. I obviously wouldn't captain Kane over Salah, but I think after the weekend, if Salah didn't start, I'd probably back Harry tonight over Trent, I think.
Yep.
Because there'd definitely be no passing tier for Trent tonight.
No.
Definitely not. So if they concede, that's genuinely at risk as a 2-pointer.
Kilman tomorrow for me.
I bought him on Sunday.
Yeah.
Did you have him from the start of the overhaul?
I haven't made a move since overhaul, mate.
I bought him for Laporte, which was the plan. That was no impact of what happened at the Etihad on Saturday. That was part of the plan, was to open up some money. So yeah, Kilman tomorrow night. I think Gabriel is the better pick, But the fact that Arsenal don't play for 10 days afterwards, there's other teams still playing twice. So I think the only thing that would make me move for Gabriel tomorrow, because my planned transfer is Webster to Gabriel on the Sunday when Arsenal play at Watford. I want to say it's Sunday the 6th, is it? I think so. Yeah, Sunday the 6th of March.
Saturday's the 5th.
But obviously, if I get some updated Brighton news and Webster's out, then I will bring that transfer forward because that's part of the plan anyway. And in which case I would captain Gabriel. But it's interesting that Kilman will be the most captained, I think. His ownership's rocketed, mate. It's up to about 65-70% in the top 1K. Loads of people bought him on Sunday, as did I. So he's going to be the most popular choice. I think because of the gap in Arsenal's fixtures, not many are going to buy Gabriel, who I do think is the best choice. But interesting, in terms of the possibility for passing tiers for the two teams, I think Kilman's only capable of getting a passing tier if Arsenal are winning. And the same might apply to Gabriel. The best case scenario for Gabriel, I think, is a 0-0. Or Arsenal score quite late to go in front. As soon as they go in front, they sit off it. We've spoken about game state with them a lot. Listen, if you get the 7 points, you're quite happy with that, obviously. But I think to get the 10, you probably need a game to be 0-0 for quite a long time, or Arsenal to score late.
Southampton, Norwich. JWP?
Yeah, will be for me. I've had him since overhaul start. I think there were quite a few thinking about obviously skipping this particular game, but I think now you've got that extra game been added against Newcastle on Thursday the 10th. I think it's go in and buy one. And there are options. There's JWP, obviously, who's very consistent in this game, but arguably maybe not the best captaincy shout on Friday night because of the opponent. Breuer, lively, great price. If you want to go that way with 3 up front, fine. I'm certainly looking to lean towards probably a 5-3-2 with Chelsea's fixture swing in the next couple of weeks. So for me to add Breuer's not going to work. And obviously I've already got JWP anyway. I mean, Livramento, if he's back fit, it's good as, isn't he, defensively? But you kind of possibly already booked in that spot for Kilman, and you might also want... There's no point coming off Kilman at the moment with the fixtures Wolves have got. I think once he's in, actually. So...
What are you doing Saturday? Because Kane away at Leeds or Cancelo away at Everton?
I'll see how I feel after tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Like... I'll know Kane's playing. That's such a big advantage to Cancelo.
You know Kane's going to play anyway. Did you see what Conte said about him yesterday?
Yeah. Play with one leg. Well, you've seen him play for the first 6 months of the season, so that's why he knows he's got to play with one leg.
Did you see him try and clarify afterwards, though, and go, just to clarify, I do not force my players to play when they're injured. I think Kane. Harry Kane on one leg. At the moment, the thinking is, yes, probably Kane. I have no doubts on Cancelo playing on Saturday with City having had a break, and obviously that result on the Saturday's possibly going to have them looking over their shoulder a lot more about the title race now. They've got Peterborough the midweek afterwards, so no concerns about Cancelo starting against Everton. So I think it's a bit of a toss of coin. I think because of Leeds, and again I'll see how I feel after tonight, but I think I'll go Harry Saturday as it stands. Plus, it'll make our meet-up more fun, won't it? Maybe not.
Sunday.
I might be captaining in FPL as well, to be fair.
Sunday, Bowen?
Yeah, which is annoying in a way because I'd like to sell him. And there's a few people you could sell to now. So I think Rafinha, because he wasn't in the starting lineup, I wouldn't kick myself about the fact that I didn't buy him on Sunday. I think that's a decent little move even tonight, arguably. Get the 2 Rafinha games before Bowen plays Sunday. But if you're still intending to captain Bowen on Sunday, which because of the ownership you probably are, then effectively it's just 2v2, isn't it? There isn't a point to move it. So I think unless you're happy to go and captain Kilman on Sunday, or another if you've got Sarah or whatever, then I think you're holding Bowen for Sunday, which also then means I think you're probably holding him probably for the Liverpool fixture as well. Then,
not me.
Then he's going. So
what's your plan? To my transfers.
Just
let's cover off the last, because you're gonna hate 2 of them.
You're buying like Yuri Tielemans.
You're gonna hate 2 of them. And on Tuesday, I've got the choice of Tielemans or Pope, but probably Tielemans.
You've already got Tielemans.
No, I'm buying him on.
You're so predictable.
Tuesday. He's one of my transfers.
So are you going Bowen to Tielemans on Tuesday?
I am not. I'm going Conor Gallagher to Tielemans.
I don't hate that at all, actually.
That's not one of my transfers you are going to hate. There's two you will. Mildly dislike. Let's not say hate.
Gallagher is ridiculously good value in this game, but think of what we said on that Patreon pod we did yesterday, right? We literally identified, and this was more for FPL obviously, but we literally identified game weeks 28 to 32 as Conor Gallagher, Crystal Palace being the only team of zero interest completely. So there is a case to move it. What's really interesting about you making that move on the Tuesday, though, is Palace play Stoke at the same time. And you'll find out then if they're playing Newcastle in game at 30 or not. But obviously you won't at the time of the transfer.
Yeah, I mean, when you take into consideration my transfers, you've got to remember I've got 25 left, yeah. So this is all luxury moves where I'm getting myself additional fixtures and better fixtures and can always go back to players afterwards. It's not like once I've sold him, I can never go back. But for the period that I won't own him, I don't want him. So here we go, James. Saturday the 26th, which is this Saturday.
Are you going to actually make all these transfers?
All of them. Well, I mean, obviously injuries and circumstances can change, but this is my plan.
All right, I'm proper excited. Go on.
JWP's going for Weghorst.
This Saturday.
Saturday.
So after Friday night. Yeah, okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday, Gallagher's going for Tielemans.
So on Tuesday, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to like my Saturday the 5th transfers, I'm afraid, but you're going to have to deal with them. Pope's going to Sarr.
Why am I not going to like it?
Because you don't like it when you move a player on the same day that he's playing.
No, I don't, because I think if Burnley, who are fighting relegation, did keep a clean sheet against a Chelsea team that are hardly ripping it apart up front with Romelu Lukaku's 7
Chelsea
touches up
win.
front, then Pope's hitting the 11-12 pointer, possibly 15 if he keeps a clean sheet.
And I'm selling Bowen to Rafinha, which is also a same day. We play Liverpool and I can't remember who Leeds.
Let's take a step back, right? But Burnley playing Chelsea on Saturday the 5th.
Yeah.
Wolves are playing Crystal Palace. Why can't you just go and make that transfer on Thursday the 10th to Jose Sarr?
Because I think the Palace game's a better game than the Chelsea game.
Yeah, it's a better game, but
remember, I got transfers coming out of my arse, mate.
Yeah, I get that, but in my opinion, you still shouldn't make that move till the Thursday.
Nah, I'm going to do it on the Saturday. And I'm selling Bowen for Rafinha because we got Liverpool away and Leeds are playing Leicester away. I prefer the Leeds game. And I want to keep Rafinha for a while. So.
And arguably, even if you look, we're talking about going to Sarr on Thursday the 10th, possibly under that strategy of yours when they play Watford. Burnley's next game is Brentford away.
Yeah, but I'm looking at over a longer period.
All right.
I don't. That Chelsea will beat Burnley. And then on the Thursday the 10th, which is the Thursday that you mentioned, I've already got 3 transfers.
I'm going to put it down now. Burnley beat Chelsea 1-0 that day, especially because we all captain Rudiger. Maybe not. Go on.
I've got 3 moves. So Weghorst will go on the 10th for Raul Jimenez.
Yeah.
I'm selling KDB for JWP.
Hang on. So that's another Burnley to Wolves transfer. So why wouldn't you go to Weghorst to Jimenez at the same time? I mean, that one makes more sense. You got Weghorst playing against Chelsea and you got Jimenez playing against Palace. But that one you are going to wait. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I'd have to look at your fixture planner. I used your fixture planner to plan this.
It's exactly the same.
There was a reason why, but I don't know how. I didn't write it down.
Is it down to money? It can't be down to money.
It's tight. Money's too tight to mention. Oh, you haven't got these in alphabetical order. You ruined it.
That makes more. If you're going to make that move on the day, Weghorst when he's playing Chelsea, Jimenez playing Palace, makes more sense than Pope to Sarr at the same time.
Okay, KDB I'm going to sell for JWP on Thursday the 10th. They've got 2 good fixtures, Southampton. It's in Norwich and Newcastle.
Yeah, so you want to go back to him. So what are you missing with JWP? You're going to be missing
1 game.
Villa away, just Villa away.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that's reasonable.
And I'm selling Webster on that day as well for either St. Maximin if he's fit or Willock if St. Maximin is not.
So, sorry, what day are you buying De Bruyne? Sunday the 6th?
No, I'm selling De Bruyne for JWP.
Oh, sorry.
Thursday the 10th.
Yeah.
And also buy St. Maximin for Webster. because then I've got 3 fixtures of Newcastle versus 1 for Brighton, and no, 2 of Brighton, but they're Liverpool and Tottenham.
Yeah.
And obviously then it gives me a captaincy coverage for the single game day of Newcastle Everton.
Okay.
So you don't like this Burnley to Wolves hokey cokey?
No, I like the idea of getting Wolves players in. I just think the timing's off.
Okay.
Personally,
I will revisit the timing of my Burnley to Wolves transfers.
For players that you're not going to necessarily captain. I mean, so Thursday the 10th, what have we got now? We've got Wolves versus Newcastle. Southampton versus Newcastle. Wolves versus Watford. And Leeds versus Villa. What you captaining that night?
Give me those again.
So you got Southampton versus Newcastle. Wolves versus Watford. Leeds versus Villa. Thursday the 10th.
Rafinha?
That's my thoughts as well. So what you forcing the Wolves players in for?
They've got a better run of fixtures.
They've got a better run of fixtures, yeah, but not necessarily suddenly if Southampton lose to West Ham on Wednesday night in the Cup and then Burnley Southampton's on that Saturday.
Possibly,
on
yeah.
FA Cup
I mean,
weekend.
that can obviously affect the decision.
So,
Remember, I got transfers to burn, so I'm having fun with it. I'm making no progress. So.
You might as well do something.
Exactly that.
But I guess that's kind of good segue. We've obviously mentioned that Thursday 10th. So we think Rafinha best choice that night, do we? But I think there's open. Like you've got
it's ages
you've got
away.
Wood-Prowse, you've got Coutinho. I think that's a really nice night for captaincy. There'll be a nice split actually of choices. The following midweek, we've now got on Wednesday the 15th, we've got Arsenal versus Liverpool and Brighton versus Tottenham added. That's not something we need to worry about. Kane, Salah, whatever when it comes round, right? Most people are going to have at least one, I'm guessing. Thursday the 17th is single game day, Everton versus Newcastle. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll have ASM or Willock.
So my plan now, updated, has got St. Maximin to come in on, I think, the same time you've done it, so Thursday the 10th.
Yeah.
So I've bookmarked in my mind Thursday the 10th of buying Antonio Rudiger, based on they might play Norwich that night. They might play Arsenal. But anyway, I could push that back to the Sunday the 13th if they don't play. But I've got that night booked in mind at the moment. Antonio Rudiger and Alan St. Maximin in for Jared Bowen and Conor Gallagher. Actually, to move on is what I've got in my mind. The only other additional transfer I've got in my mind at the moment, but very much subject to the FA Cup results, is Yuri Tielemans in for St. Maximin Sunday the 20th of March, which, presuming Leicester beat Randers in the Europa Conference League, that fixture will be moved to Sunday the 20th, which would currently make Leicester versus Brighton a single game day. And as it stands, if that is the case, there isn't a good entry point, particularly for Leicester beforehand. I know people, Leicester got loads of games left. Well, that's really the first entry point. Brentford at home, Sunday the 20th, particularly if it's a captaincy requirement needed. The only reason you wouldn't need the captaincy requirement for that date is obviously if either Everton lose in the Cup, Crystal Palace lose in the Cup, West Ham lose in the Cup, or Liverpool lose in the Cup. Otherwise it will be most likely a single game day, Leicester versus Brentford.
Oh, look, Nico's come in, and you know what?
Hello,
I might need to
Nico.
restart
Morning,
the video.
mate.
I didn't even think about restarting the video. Is it still recording? It's still recording. Oh, look at that.
Perfect, mate.
Magic.
Crack on.
Should we do some of these questions on Twitter?
Yes, but just to cover that, I think, yes, for St. Maximin, Thursday the 10th is probably the right entry point. You get Southampton away, you get Chelsea away, then you get Everton away. Then I think if you're chaining that to... Obviously, they could play themselves against Palace on that Sunday, in which case you don't need... I wouldn't need the Tielemans game if Palace lose in the Cup. The worry with that St. Maximin move, of course, is you buy him a week earlier than you need him. Do you trust him to stay fit? 3 away games as well.
Yeah, the fixtures are not nice. That's it. That put me off. But then I looked at the single game day and I was like, just the single game day is enough. And that's why Willock's there as a backup for me.
I think alternatively, suddenly, I mean, if Everton did lose to Bournemouth, which you can't foresee, then obviously they'd
can't?
No, you can't. Come on, man. No. Premier League team lose at home to non-league team. Mind you, it did happen with Burnley and Lincoln a few years ago. It can't do
it. It was
that,
1 minute away from happening in the last round, mate.
Bournemouth's down the road from us. They can't go and beat Everton, surely.
Come on, Bournemouth.
But let's say they did, then obviously Everton would play that Sunday. So it could be Calvert-Lewin on the day, for example.
Yeah.
So I think that's principal idea is I know what my plan is to cover it, but it's skippable as well, I think. I think the additional fixture for Newcastle means you should gamble on one, even if it was like a Dubravka or something. I think you should gamble something, I think.
Agreed. So, as always, we've answered a lot of the Twitter questions in our ramblings. But FPL Fox, just so you know, James, it is due to snow in Burnley.
It's not.
9 hours after you leave.
Is it really?
Good timing. Apparently so. It's a
I
screenshot of the BBC weather app.
I only looked at the weather for tonight, and it's...
You're all right for tonight, but it's going to snow tomorrow.
It's not all right for tonight. It's going to absolutely piss down there.
FPL Eze...
you know that's my revenge for laughing at you on Monday's pod about you getting wet.
Oh, did you laugh? Oh, it's football, isn't it? You get wet.
You were too busy getting upset. Yes, I was laughing behind this mic.
FPL Eze says... with above... Sorry, there's a typo. I was confused as to what I was reading there for a second. With above average transfers remaining, when's it worth going big on Chelsea? I looked at this. Between now and that game week 30, FPL game week 30, there's only 2 fixtures for them. So,
for Chelsea?
Yeah. And maybe the third fixture, which we don't know about yet. So it doesn't feel like any time is go big.
I think they're going to arrange Chelsea to play Norwich on Thursday the 10th, that night when there's other games. So where I said, that's a really interesting captaincy night. Well, if Chelsea are at Norwich, maybe it's not. It's just go and buy a Rudiger that night. And you may well find that people suddenly look to go, right, how can I get Rudiger, Thiago, Mendy, even punt an offensive player? Because suddenly then you're obviously going into attractive fixtures. Obviously, what it does mean is after the Newcastle game in 29, which is a Sunday, which makes coming off them a little bit more difficult, they have some good fixtures on the other side, like they've got Brentford at home in 31. And you know with them, they're going to have additional fixtures for the remainder of the season as well. Like, as I've said previously on other pods, if they do not add a Chelsea fixture in that midweek on Wednesday the 9th or Thursday the 10th, they've lost their mind. Most people still think it will be the Arsenal game on Wednesday the 9th. I think with each passing day, it's becoming more likely that they'll bring the Norwich game from match week 30 forward at 1 week's notice. We were expecting TV fixtures for April yesterday. Didn't get them. I presume they're going to come today. There's going to be some games in there you're not going to like, by the way, because the Champions League clubs are going to have to be kind of scheduled mainly on Saturdays. So there's going to be some funny-looking Sunday, Monday games you're not going to like in April. But they're going to be so far behind if they don't get a fixture added. Most people still think it's going to be the Arsenal game, 28. If they don't give Chelsea a fixture in that midweek, Chelsea are they're going to have to play twice in 3 days, twice at the end of the season, if they progress in Europe and the FA Cup. And that would only be getting to the semi-finals of both, would be enough to cause carnage.
Money Mace, 676 is his rank. 24 transfers. Does he still have a chance?
Of first?
Yeah. It's difficult now. Just because everyone's so samey.
I'll be honest, I'm at similar rank now, and I'm down to 19, and I would say for me, no. But in theory, those extra 5 transfers, you could be putting sort of 60, 65 points on your, maybe even 75 points on your total or so. So, add that to the score, and I think you're probably saying yes, but you've got to nail them transfers.
That's it, captaincies.
You've got to nail them. You've got to nail everything left, basically, I think.
A number of people asking, we've got Hambone and Matt Stewart and Skippy about the Southampton Norwich game. And is JWP a better option than Breuer just because they have so many games and the FA Cup? And JWP is obviously clearly more nailed. I mean, I think if you've got the money to buy JWP, you go JWP, surely, over Breuer.
No, I don't think it necessarily works like that. I think, to be honest, it's probably a little bit about what you want to do with your setup a bit, I think. So, if I was buying now, I think I'd go Ward-Prowse. But I think I'd go Ward-Prowse because I'd know at the moment I've got to have Salah and Kane. And because of what I think will happen with Chelsea, I need 5 at the back. And that just by default, because the Southampton decision is less important. I know there's a captaincy coming, but making sure I've got my Kanes and my Chelsea players and stuff's more important. So by default, it just becomes Ward-Prowse for me.
Okay.
So But in terms of if you said to me which player do you think will score more on Friday night specifically, like if you want to buy someone for the night and then sell them immediately, I would pump Broya.
Should there be to be? I think we've answered this. Is it worth going Ronaldo to Kane today?
I think you'll be the only person that doesn't do it.
Rather than the Everton game.
Harry Kane's ownership right now in the top 1,000 is about 22% or so. It'll be about 62% come tomorrow. I think, like, particularly as well, a lot of people had the transfer planned in mind. Now you've got the FOMO after his performance at Man City as well, so he's going to shoot right up.
Paul wants to know whether you would cut ties with Bruno now or hold him for the Watford game.
We've got a lot of polls. Suj, which one?
Sky player and FPL.
Hello, Mr. Jones. Would I cut Bruno now? I suppose, is that a Bruno to Kane move? Is that the suggestion?
Didn't say.
I mean, ideally, no, you'd cut him on Sunday, wouldn't you? Ideally. But then the problem is if you wait beyond this weekend, your choices are limited. So are you going... If you haven't got a Wolves player, you're probably getting it on Thursday. Bowen's looking more of a sell after Sunday because of the fixture layout rather than buy. Are you waiting for Leicester on Tuesday? But to be honest, it doesn't feel like the right point. But I guess Bruno Fernandes to Tielemans, James Maddison on Tuesday makes sense. But, I mean, that's not... In terms of your gains, it's not great. So I think if you're buying someone who's playing tonight, I ain't making the move tonight.
Dave, simple goal. Man sitting up there in the top 10. Maybe even top 5. I don't know.
No, he's second, I think, Dave.
Oh, has he gone back up to second?
Yeah,
well done, Dave.
Smashing it. Go on, Dave. More fire. Did you see the picture he posted as well?
No.
There was people doing this bizarre... let's take a picture of ourselves. Dave's was like lying there on his elbow topless on his bed and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Good
on
lad.
a bed of money. We'll be soon, Dave.
Yeah, we
4
get
months.
it updated. We'll get Nico to add all the £50 notes if you win to that picture, mate.
I want Dave to do DJ Khaled style videos if he wins the whole thing. Like you don't really know DJ Khaled.
I know he is. I'm not that out of touch.
Go buy yourself a house. Go buy your mum a house. 50 grand. Why not?
50 grand. We could buy a shed.
Dave says, who are your top 5 midfielders between now and game week FPL game week 30? So after the FA Cup.
JWP because of the captaincy. I think Rafinha. I think those would be the two. You'd make a case of still Bowen because of the captaincy Sunday. I think there might be a couple of cheeky Arsenal options between now and then. Smith Rowe, Saka. I mean, Smith Rowe's like 3rd or 4th top scorer in the Premier League. You know that? Mad. Saka's starting to get really consistent now as well. For those who want to consider alternatives to Gabriel, keep your eye on Decky, Dejan Kulusevski. That's not a Sky option at the moment, but I'd keep an eye on him. I think there's not masses, and that's why those who are sitting there with... I'm sure those sitting there with 4 or 5 in midfield at the moment are back to square root one of wanting to move it on. I think Ramsey is brilliant value. Coutinho's going to end up staying for me, I think, because they do still have some good fixtures. They've got the game in 30 at the moment. He's even, by the time it lands, that Leeds away fixture, we're talking about Rafinha. It might be really the sensible suggestion that night's Coutinho at Ellen Road, possibly. But there's not oceans of... Like the City mids, I think it's not on at the moment now. It's gone. It might be that if Mason Mount gets himself fit, might be interesting for a little bit, but it's not. You don't really want the Chelsea money there. No. You want it at the back.
Yeah, agreed. That's all right. That's all the kind of Twitter questions that we've had, James. Indeed, it is. End of the pod, because James is getting the train to Burnley. Enjoy your evening out.
I'm going to get absolutely drenched, and it's not going to be like Saturday, is it? Let's be honest, it's not.
And even if it is, and you win the game in the 95th minute,
I'll take that.
That would be... I'll take that. That would be annoying more than actually like a celebration. It's like we should have won this game earlier.
Listen, if I go home, you know that you can't feel your toes and they're soaking wet and they're cold, and I get back to the hotel and I take my socks off and I can't feel my toes and we've won. That's the night I want.
There we go. James describes his dream night. And we'll be back at you tomorrow. You've got Clash of the Correspondents.
Cheat date me.
Yeah, Clash of the Correspondents tomorrow, and midweek games review on Friday. Look after yourselves, and see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck this week. Bye, Harry Kane tonight. Cue music, please, man child.